Okay, let's have a look at setting up the main centre of gravity control, and we'll also set up the main the sort of master control for the whole character. Okay, so I am going to use controls that are in the COG controller, and for the hip control I'm going to use that sort of curved cross. Okay, I do want a group, so I'll create the up node in there as well. So let's create that, and the group, once I move the group into position, it will keep the control all zero down. Okay, so let's call this rig underscore, I'm going to call this centre of gravity COG underscore CTRL, and let's call that rig COG control group. Let me just bring back my grid. So you can see at default position that curve is kind of facing forward. So what I'm going to do is rotate it down, make it a lot larger so it's very easy to grab as a central control. So your controls need to sort of be outside your geometry as well. It's a little bit too curved for my liking for the main centre of gravity, so I'm just going to flatten it off a little bit, still keep it a nice curve to make it visually appealing. Okay, and then once you've done that, freeze your transforms and delete history, so it resets everything back to how it should be. V-snap the group of this control into position, so you can see now we have given the centre of gravity controls a nice big control to work with, and because I've V-snapped the group, if I select the control, it's zeroed everything out. So again, very similar process. You'll find that most of your controls that have groups are done exactly like this. And then I'm going to parent constrain your main COG joint to this control. So with constraints, always select the driver first, shift select that main root, constrain, parent, and maintain offset, and add. Okay, so now as I move the hips, because I've set up the IK legs, everything's kind of working quite nicely. I can also rotate as well, so everything's working quite nicely because I've parent constrained your main COG joint to the control. Okay, and again, because that control has a group, I can zero out the control and it restores back to the nice default position. Okay, so let's set up a master control for the actual character as well, and this becomes a great way of organising your rig as well. I'm going to go back to COG controls. I mean, there's lots of plugins out there for controls. I just found this is quite a nice set. I'm going to create the one that is like a. Is there anything else? No. Oh yeah. So I'll create one that looks like a cross. I don't want a group. Okay, this is going to sit at the origin. So let's create it. I turned off create up node, and as you can see, it's just a curve on its own. Rig. Whoops. Rename it rig underscore, now I'll call this master underscore control. Okay, and this is ultimately where you can position your character. It's tiny at the moment, so let's just scale it out. Okay, and because you've got the, I must have put a key on that. So let me just delete the key. Okay. Scale that out. That key must have been the scale. Just scale it out. Freeze transforms. Delete history. Rig master control. Okay. And literally now we can parent everything underneath that rig master control. Okay. So when we select that, move move the master control and the character goes with it. Okay. Now you will notice that the curves have this double transform. Okay. So when I move the master control, the curve movement is getting duplicated twice, so they start to increasingly move off the rig. Okay, so they're getting a double transform, and the way to solve that, and that's because they're moving with the transform of the master control, but they're also moving with the transform of their clusters as well. Okay, so they're getting that double hit, and that's why they're moving off at a double the rate. All right. So the easiest way to fix it, always go back to default position. In your attribute editor, you will see right at the top you've got inherit transform. Just turn it off. Okay, and I need to go back and the left knee setup, because I locked the curve, so I couldn't select it. So you can do it by selecting it in the outliner, and again inherit transforms turns off. So that will stop the double transforms. Okay, and as you can see, everything now is behaving as it should. Okay, so whenever you move rigs around and things start moving at twice the rate off of where it should be, it's getting a double transform. So turning off inherit transforms is the way of fixing that. Okay, so again, because we froze transformations at the origin, you can return it back and everything is working nicely. So we've got the hip control and we've got the master control where everything is, you can move the entire character.